Paramount is promising 30 films per year, but what would that look like? Alan, I know you have notes for this story. Let's go. We have 3 stories that connect here, all about the merger and Paramount.
Yes.
A lot of people have opinions.
Yeah.
A lot of people have opinions, but I'll bring the story up. Give me the notes.
All right. Well, Paramount's promise to release 30 theatrical films a year sounds achievable initially, but sustaining the numbers could be extremely difficult and expensive. Warner Brothers already has a large pipeline with about 20 films planned for 2027, while Paramount has another 11. So the merged companies could reach 30 releases without immediately creating a huge number of new projects. That the number comes after that. Combining the studios currently only has 17 films to date in 2028, and 2029 is largely open. Paramount also plans to use its independent film to fill out the slate, potentially committing around 30% of its annual releases to indie acquisitions. That could be a smart way to reach 30 movies without making every movie a massive blockbuster. However, building successful specialty divisions takes time. However, quantity doesn't necessarily equal profitability. Warner Brothers has demonstrated how quickly fortunes can change. The studio had an excellent 2025, but its 2026 box office has been dramatically weaker. Paramount also has struggled with consistency. That raises the question of what happens when the combined company has a bad year. Releasing 30 movies means taking on the production and marketing costs of 30 movies. And with merged companies carrying around $79 billion in projected debt, a series of expensive flops could become a serious financial problem. DC is particularly important because Warner's intellectual property is one of the biggest reasons Paramount wants the merger. Superman demonstrated the potential of a new DC strategy, but Supergirl showed how quickly a major franchise can stumble.
Well, I mean, look, if they do nothing, they'll be able to get 15 films per studio a year out based on the IP and what they've got. So that's fine. Paramount has not had a great year, honestly.
And neither has Warner Brothers.
Yeah. This has been really an off year for WB. Frankly, Supergirl tanked. I mean, compared to last year, like with Sinners and one battle after another.
Well, no. It was 8 movies in a row that earned over 40 million opening weekend.
Right. So WB was on a roll. They've stumbled. That's fine. It happens. But Paramount has not done well. Scary Movie 6 or whatever. And the movies they've released combined had made about 200 million. I saw some estimate. I mean, they've not looked good, but my expectation is they will, they'll make corrections. But this is really going to a place that who could have guessed? Look at this. Here's a story from Deadline. Paramount-WBD antitrust suit heads to it's not really heading to Supreme Court. It's a case that's being pitched to the Supreme Court in red state versus blue state. Showdown. Check this out. It's from Deadline. They'll look. The Supreme Court doesn't take every case that's pitched to them. But what's in this story, Alan? Let's get into it.
Well, Iowa and Montana are asking the Supreme Court to intervene in the antitrust lawsuit blocking Paramount's $111 billion acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery. They argued that the merger has already been approved by 68 jurisdictions worldwide, including the DOJ, and that California and 11 other states shouldn't be able to block a deal that regulators globally have cleared. Supporters say the merger could generate $6 billion in savings, fund more movies, create a stronger competitor to Netflix, Disney, and Amazon, and lead to at least 30 theatrical releases a year. California and the other states argue that the merger could reduce competition, increase industry consolidation, and lead to significant Hollywood layoffs. Critics also point to the combined company's roughly $8 billion debt load, which Iowa's arguments largely ignores. The dispute also has a strong political component. with Iowa accusing California AG Rob Bonta of using antitrust enforcement to target Paramount and the Trump administration. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking, with Paramount facing $7 million a day fee beginning on October 1 if the merger remains delayed.
Yeah, I mean, this is a thing where everyone has an opinion. It's created a civil war in Hollywood now, and people taking sides. But there's other stories. There are so many stories about this merger. There's another story. We won't show it. I'll just give you the quick notes on it. That all three major movie theater chains want the merger to go through. Yeah. The whole point is of this is to have this monopoly could hurt the industry. The industry says, we want the merger. AMC, Cinemark, Regal say, please, we want the merger, which totally weakens Rob Bonta's argument. So let's switch to this for a second. This also related, I think, put this all in perspective. Joseph Kahn goes nuclear on Rob Bonta, the guy who's if you would read this, it's a little long from our friend Joseph Kahn. I'll make it bigger. Yeah. I know you like it that way. Yes. Just to read this, and Joseph puts all of this into perspective. All of it. Alan, read it like Joseph would.
Okay. If Paramount Warner leaves LA, they'll be fine. Their true value is the IP they own. The infrastructure can be moved anywhere and benefit from lower taxes and costs of operations. Lots can be sold off and rebuilt. Like any corporate move, the executive class can be transferred. The deals they make are vaporware, contracts, and e-signs on the internet. However, for LA, it's a death blow. The infrastructure is already suffering, with vendors going out of business and crew members quitting. The built-in advantage of being a mecca for filmmakers with access to top talent, props, equipment disintegrates overnight. Studio stockpiles of props, wardrobes, cranes, cameras can truck over to Nashville or Austin. Crews can suddenly live in lower-cost states and afford homes and schools for their kids. They may have to pray to baby Jesus a little more, but a little Holy Ghost power never hurt anybody. Never hurt nobody. Sorry. This is not 1986 where you have to shoot below the roof of a backlot set. We can extend and digitally enhance anything. Setting up shop in a business-friendly, films-friendly city has no downside if the infrastructure truly moves. Every vendor benefits from lower costs and living for its employees, especially a struggling working class that no one seems to give a shit about in these culture wars.
Well, let me pause for a sec. Joseph he's not on the right. He's not on the left. He's Captain Common Sense. Please continue if you will.
Yeah. A major studio leaving LA is a nuclear explosion that creates a chain reaction. Eventually, every other studio starts calculating a 0% state income tax. Rob Bonta has lived a life of academic insulation, including inside of a political bubble. He has no idea what it's like to set up a movie, try to get a crew, look for weekly freelance jobs in a fluctuating gig economy. No idea how fragile the ecosystem is. He's been sheltered inside of California Democrat Uniparty as a kind of legal Nepo baby, given expensive real estate with tenants he has never met. Now this incompetent moron thinks he can do whatever he wants with his third street promenade. I miss the Barnes & Noble there, Bonta. You'll miss the film business here.
Think about that. The film business is a cash machine. Mm-hmm. A cash machine that politicians use to extort money in the form of taxes. And look, Joseph was too kind to Rob Bonta. What I find of any politician is mostly they are people who've never had to work or earn an honest dollar. As someone who had newspaper routes when I was a kid, I had newspaper routes. I worked hard. I worked restaurants. I was a dishwasher in a couple I worked at a video store. I worked at Burger King for a summer. I've worked and had jobs. And worked my ass off all my life, and good. I enjoyed it. I learned lessons at every job. Mostly if the job was terrible, I learned that I didn't want this job and I wanted a better job. But that made me what I am. And today I'm an entrepreneur. Alan, you're a freelancer. You know, you do. We're all like, we're working hard, and he has no concept of what it's like to do that. I want to hear your thoughts, and I have something to share that's going to put all of this, it's going to bring it together and put it in perspective. Alan, your comments and thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sad. I mean, LA, California should be one of the richest states in the nation. California should be one of the greatest places to live in the nation. The weather, for one thing, the opportunity for another. And we have politicians in office that would rather take advantage of the fortunes of California, take it over and spend it frivolously versus building it and growing it. Look, it's hard to make a movie, but you're driving the movie business out and you're driving people away, which is why it's hard to open a restaurant. But restaurants are closing, and worse, if the idea of opening a restaurant or starting a business ever occurred to you, the first place you wouldn't go is California.
This state, the birthplace of Hollywood, the center of the entertainment industry, is no one in government understands this business. Mm-hmm. Not to mention business and how
to run a business,
how to make an honest buck.
Yeah.
You make something people want, they buy it. You try to optimize your business. You make more. You serve the customer. They don't know how to do that. They're extracting money from hardworking people
for their own pleasure.
Exactly. And Kahn's bottom line point is that Paramount doesn't need California. California needs Paramount to stay here for the jobs and the tax revenue.